freedom of speech should be allowed.
Does refusing to hire a Holocaust denier as a member of Harvard's history department faculty count as an ideological litmus test?
A diversity of viewpoints about Holocaust denying?
That's not what she said. That's
Okay.
not at all what just happened there.
Hold on.
She's
She
saying that college faculty are uniformly partisan, liberal, progressive, radical.
Nobody accused her of being a Holocaust denier.
You're implying
Scott,
that's what she wants.
No one did
You're
that.
implying.
It is completely.
The line of inquiry here
just
is an
stop for just a
implication
second.
that she's like, sure,
it is
let's do that.
completely disingenuous for you to sit at this table and say that we accused her of being a Holocaust denier.
I think it's disingenuous to portray this interaction the way you are.
Absolutely, no one said that. It is
How are you
disingenuous.
portraying it? How are you portraying
It's
it?
disingenuous. It's disrespectful.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about Abby Phillip absolutely losing her mind today because Scott Jennings wasn't having it. He confronted her on her stupid line of questioning because Education Secretary Linda McMahon went in front of these show hearings, one of these congressional show hearings where they ask her a bunch of stupid questions and there's no point to any of the questions. They're intentionally stupid, loaded questions that they don't even let the people answer properly before they repeatedly interrupt them and make accusations and, you know, just kind of fly off the handle. The usual stuff that I'm sure you all are familiar with. And Abby, for whatever reason, takes Linda's answer as she wasn't answering the question in regard to Holocaust denialism.
Would the Harvard government department be compelled to hire faculty that believe the 2020 election was stolen?
I believe that there are rights to freedom of speech, but on campuses and universities of colleges and universities across the country, freedom of speech should be allowed.
Does refusing to hire a Holocaust denier as a member of Harvard's history department faculty count as an ideological litmus test?
I believe that there should be diversity of viewpoints relative to teachings and opinions on campuses.
A diversity of viewpoints about Holocaust denying?
That's not what she said. That's not at all what just happened there.
Now, you saw the clip. Obviously, this question is a meaningless and loaded question, but Abby Phillip doesn't see it that way, and Scott Jennings isn't having it. I have so much respect for Scott for calling out the BS, and he does it here, and she's mad, and I can't stand people who are mad when you call out the BS, which is exactly what Abby's doing. She proposes BS, he calls it out, she's triggered. Let's get into it.
Excuse me,
right now
but
from
why
Democrats,
on earth would she not be able to answer that question?
She has the same answer that every Republican has had for time immemorial. Why isn't there any diversity of viewpoint in the faculty at a college?
So what is the answer?
It was a joke of a question.
Okay.
It was a joke of a question.
So what's the answer?
Deserve an answer.
What's the answer?
The answer
is it
is
an ideological litmus test to have a Holocaust denier be asked to ask?
That's not an
Is there an ideological litmus test that you have to believe in progressive radicalism to get hired now? Because that's what it seems like to us.
Holocaust denialism.
That's the box they have
which
to
is
check.
Card-carrying, textbook anti-Semitism. You
She
think
wasn't responding
doesn't
to
count?
that. She wasn't responding to that, and it's a patently ridiculous assertion.
Why are you assuming that she wasn't responding to that when she gave
because
that
I have,
answer
because
in
I'm a thinking human being who can see what a rational person would say to a ridiculous question?
She didn't say that's a ridiculous question.
You were totally
Scott,
misconstruing this.
Scott, literally we played it for the American people to see.
Yeah, and every
hear.
single person's going to see it my way.
She literally did not answer. She did not answer the question the way you want to answer the question, and
no, she didn't answer the question the way you want her to answer it, Abby. You want her to give some sort of direct answer to these stupid questions. The problem with giving direct answers to dumb ass questions is that it's going to make you look like a dumbass because you're playing into their stupid line of questioning. I respect Linda for not falling for it. I don't really know anybody who does fall for it. That's a Republican, at least. So let's keep going.
That question has an answer. What is the answer?
The answer to that question is you're an idiot. To that congressman. That is the answer to that question.
What is the answer? Will the federal government, if somebody comes in and says, I don't believe the Holocaust really happened, will the federal government bring the hammer down on universities for saying that is not a viewpoint that we are allowing on our campuses?
The question would be
that the answer ought to be no, but it sounds like neither of you.
But I'm a little bit confused. I thought that they were saying before, like, one of the reasons they're trying to argue in favor of these people who are literally pro-terrorist is because they feel like it's free speech. But you're telling me, like, they draw the line, or Abby here is at least trying to draw the line at, well, the Holocaust wasn't real and they can't say that. Now, obviously, I think it was real, but I don't know what really happened. Nobody does. Nobody was there. So nobody can really say. That's how a lot of history is. If somebody thinks something different, it kind of is what it is. I don't know if I would necessarily just say, well, no, we just cannot hire them. I don't know. There's probably, consider how many wackos there already is on college campuses. Why is this the line that we're drawing in terms of the professors and the people who work at the universities? Like, you didn't have a problem with nothing else, but now the answer should be no. I'm confused by the hypocrisy here.
No, the answer ought to be, what kind of litmus test is Harvard putting on its faculty now?
Yes.
Only 3% of its faculty are Republicans.
I mean, listen.
No card
So
in front.
Abby basically just wants you to say, nah, you can't hire that person. But hey, if they say free Palestine and F the Jews and no to Zionism, then I guess they're right as rain to be hired, huh?
Of her to tell her the answer, and this is what happens when you have somebody who lied about having an education degree. They didn't teach about the Holocaust maybe when she was getting her French degree.
If
she actually had that,
The reality
we
also,
also-
if we also didn't even,
outrageous.
you're
accusing her of being a Holocaust
no, please, Scott. Hold on a second.
This is outrageous.
Excuse me,
I'm
Scott.
not say that.
Stop. Everybody stop. Everybody stop for a second. Excuse me, Scott. Nobody accused her of being a Holocaust
You're
denier.
implying that
Scott,
that's what she wants.
No one did
You're
that.
implying.
It is completely.
The line of inquiry
Scott,
here
just
is an
stop for just a
implication.
second.
Look at her trying to act all offended. This is what they do. They'll say something extremely offensive, but then when you notice and call it out for being offensive, oh, how dare you? Basically, so yeah, you could say that she's saying something slightly different from what Scott's saying. She's, to Abby's credit, she's not saying that Linda is a Holocaust denier, but she's implying that Linda is okay with hiring Holocaust deniers on campus. That's what she's saying, which is very close. You could argue the semantics of, well, it's not exactly what I said, but it's still very close.
He's like, sure,
It is
let's do that.
completely disingenuous for you to sit at this table and say that we accused her of being a Holocaust
I think it's
denier.
disingenuous
No
to portray
one,
this interaction the way you are.
absolutely
That's my view.
no one said that. It is
How are you portraying
disingenuous.
it? How are you portraying it?
It's disingenuous. It's disrespectful.
Oh,
I
And
think,
it's
I think
wrong.
the question was
So,
disingenuous.
excuse
Abby.
It
me.
was a disingenuous question from
How
Congressman
is it a
Scott.
disingenuous question? The other part of the question is, if you are an election denier, and Harvard said you can't be an election denier and teach at this school, is that a litmus test?
I mean, does this mean that Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton could never teach at Harvard?
I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
Because I bet you any amount of money, I bet you every penny to my name that they would quickly and swiftly invite Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton in a freaking second to go and profess at Harvard.
The question is, what litmus test is Harvard putting on its faculty?
Okay,
We
listen,
know they have one
we gotta
set of
go,
ideology.
but it is very clear that neither of you want to answer a very simple question.
So now you're
Are
accusing
you
us.
allowed?
Are you accusing us?
Is Harvard?
Are you accusing him and me?
Is Harvard allowed, or
Go
any
ahead and
school,
do it.
is any school allowed to say that these are facts, and if you don't believe in facts, you cannot teach here? Are they allowed to do that?
The question is, what is the litmus test
Scott,
today?
don't
and what kind
do
of
not
faculty do you
answer
want?
my
Do you want
question.
people who all have the same
Do
views
not,
or a
when you
diversity
answer
of
my
views?
question with a question, you are dodging.
When
So
you
answer
ask me,
the
when you ask
question.
me questions that I think are kind of ridiculous framing of this issue, then I think
How
you're
is it a
misconstruing the
ridiculous
issue.
framing?
Because
You
she-
either believe that there are things that are facts or you don't.
I do believe in facts, and I also
Okay.
believe that that member of Congress was creating a disingenuous, ridiculous question designed for this gotcha moment right here.
Okay, it is very telling that you are not able or willing to even entertain an answer. You could answer
I
the
gave you
question
an
right
answer.
now and you
has a
refuse
right-
to do it.
Wait a minute.
Look,
No, Harvard has a right to have any
Okay.
litmus test they want for their faculty. They're a private institution.
Okay,
They
all
can-
right. Well, there's the answer to your question. Thank you.
Yeah, but, big but, you can't receive government funds no matter what. Like, that's just how it is. So there may be some stipulation in regard to the funding that you receive. You sure can teach certain things if you like, but are you entitled to the money, my money, your money? Nope, nope, nope. Absolutely freaking not. And I don't know what this was from Abby. She's freaking huffing and puffing like she's ready to blow somebody's house down. But at the end of the day, it was a stupid question, guys. There's all kinds of people. I don't know how many people who watch this channel went to college, finished college, whatever. But I could tell you right now, because I did go to college and I did finish college. And there are so many professors that are so freaking ridiculous, that believe the most ridiculous things, and they get extremely offended if the students don't think the same way that they think. And a lot of them are different, but the professors are different, but a lot of the viewpoints are actually kind of similar too, in terms of being extremely radical leftists. Like, for example, that guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, stupid behind black dude, lots of people just like him. Smart in their own way, but freaking morons in a different way in terms of stupid ideologies and belief systems that they have. So they're already hiring crazy people who believe in crazy things and are anti-historic, anti-biology. You're talking about men getting pregnant and men playing in women's sports. And I mean, these are the people who are trying to tell us, hey, the Holocaust denier is over the line. You got a dude with a big old belly, right? Your baby ready to pop, or just a man with a vajayjay. But no. You know, Anne Frank and denying her story is wrong. Okay, that's anti-fact according to Abby Phillip here. But men getting pregnant, I mean, hey, that's okay. This is why I don't respect these people. That's extremely inconsistent. The chromosomes are factual. Biology is factual. Sexuality and the sex you're born with is factual. So it's hard to really respect anything this person's saying about facts. And then again, election denialism. They love to harp on election denialism. And for some reason, they need to have way more people bring up Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton, because they were, especially Stacey Abrams, was the chief election denial. That's on my stomping ground here in Georgia. Oh man, this lady would not shut the hell up for years, literally until it was time to get reelected and people were saying election denialism was like a big turnoff. Then and only then did she stop denying the election. And she never actually stopped denying that she won the previous election. She just said that she was going to accept the results of the next one. She never said she accepted the results of the previous one. But anyway, guys, I digress. Let me know what you guys think about this. Was Abby Phillip in the right here? And was this an appropriate line of questioning for Linda? Or was she just tripping and gaslighting per usual? Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
I don't understand.
She was not answering what is a patently ridiculous question.
Wait,
and no Republican should take any lectures about anti-Semitism right now from Democrats.
Why on earth